Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to our lecturers, Sefitri, and to all our fellow classmates. Today we are going to present our research proposal, which is Service Quality and Tourist Satisfaction, the case of food tourism in Penang. Before we start our presentation, I'm going to introduce my name. My name is Shamimi Ashari, and my group members' name is Nur Hakima binti Aris and Nur Amira binti Abdul Halim.
Before we move on to background of study, I would like to introduce some of the general information about Penang. Penang, known as Pearl of the Orient because of its landscape of colonial, oriental and local influence that makes Penang most extraordinary little island. In 2008, the capital of Penang, which is Georgetown, also has been listed in UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site because the cultural diversity embodied and embedded in living heritage and built heritage. Penang also have known as its variety of food and have been acknowledged by several famous websites such as Time Magazine, Lonely Planet and CNN Travel. In this study, we would like to analyze the service quality and tourist satisfaction in the case of food tourism in Penang. According to World Food Association 2020, food tourism is defined as traveling to get feelings of one place through tasting the place's food. Lonely Planet also have been listed some of must-try food in Penang, such as laksa, pasembu, and char kway teow. There is several reasons why we choose Penang as our places to study. Firstly, because we want to take a look whether the service quality provided in Penang are same with the popularity of food itself. Secondly, we also want to figure out which of the dimensions in Servco model have high percentage in satisfy the tourists.
There is three problem statements that we have identified in our study. Firstly is concerning of the hygienic by the food and places. According to the STAR, one way to know whether the restaurant consider of the hygienic by looking on how the staff behave. For example, we can take a look for the restaurant's staff apron and the clothes they use are in what condition. Secondly is physical appearance. In this study, we would like to know whether the physical appearance gives significant role in assisting the customer to go to that restaurants. Last problem is our study would like to know whether the service quality that have been listed in conceptual framework fulfills the customer expectation. It is because the result that we get might be from some people who are rarely think and recap the situation occur before answering the question given by us. Next slide shows our research objective and research question. We have been identified three research objectives in our study. Firstly is we want to examine the service quality of food tourism experience of tourists in Penang. We also want to assess the most important service quality aspect of food tourism experience in Penang. Lastly, we also want to evaluate the relationship between service quality of food tourism experience and tourist satisfaction in Penang. As for research question, we also have been list some of the questions that we want to ask for our respondent. For instance, what is the service quality of food tourism experience of tourists in Penang? Next is which is the most important service quality aspect of tourist food tourism experience in Penang? Lastly is which is the most important service quality aspect of tourist food tourism experience in Penang. Next slide shows us about the theoretical framework that we have been used in this research. The theory that we use is adapted by Paras-Freiman 1985, that known as subcore model. In this theory, it shows us about 5 dimensions in subcore model. For instance, tangible, reliability, empathy, assurance, and responsiveness. And these 5 dimensions we use as our independent variable. As for our dependent variable, we have been used the tourist satisfaction. It is because we want to see the relationship between the tourist satisfaction with 5 dimensions in subcore model. First dimension in independent variables is tangible. The example of characteristic under tangible is hygiene, facility, and packaging of food. Most of the time, when people want to eat aside from their house, they will take a look for the hygiene of the restaurant or the food stall first. It is because the food that we eat will go through our body to deliver energy and so on. Not only that, people also take the consideration on what are the facilities provided at the restaurant when choosing places to eat. For instance, toilet and parking lot. The packaging of food also gives some of the visual on what the food looks like and attract people who do not have intention also to buy it. Next dimension is reliability. The example in this dimension is quality of food, durability, and food availability. The quality of food that provided at one restaurant should be always the new and not recycled. Moreover, nowadays people look for the extraordinary food rather than the usual ones. Next is durability of food. The longer the durability of food, the more people will take away food to their homes. This can increase marketing strategy. This is because the food itself can become one of the topics about word of mouth. The food availability also one of the important things, as if the food are always out of stock, the customer will tend to feel disappointed with the services and lead them to change their preference. Third dimension is assurance. Some of the example factors that we want to focus in this study is sanitation of places, eliminating of defects food, and meet the standard operating procedure. Sanitation of the area at the restaurant are one of the essential things to do. It is because it can disinfect the bacteria and unhealthy stuff from getting into the restaurant. By doing this thing, it can make people to believe that the restaurant are in a good condition. Next is employees should eliminate the defects food in order to ensure that all of the customer get the fresh foods and avoid the customer complaint. The restaurant or the food stall also have to follow standard operating procedure (SOP) that have been imposed before they open the business. This will make the customer feel assured to eat or take away the food that's served in that restaurant. Next dimension is empathy. The characteristic of empathy dimension including the performance of staff and demands by customer. The employee that have been given the responsibility should always take a serious in fulfilling it. It is to avoid the image of the restaurants become poor. The employee also have to hear the opinion and the demand by the customer as long as it is good and do not affect or harm themselves. For example, the restaurant can fix the issue or problem by completing the customer order as fast as they can. Last dimension in our study is responsiveness. The characteristic that we want to see in this study is time taken, willingness to help the customer, and provide the prompt service. Some people lack of patience in waiting for their food at a long time. Hence, it can make the restaurants more worse. The employer also should always be aware with the conditions in their surrounding. If there is a people that in need, they should take a quick action. Hence, it can lead the restaurants to have the good impression by that customer. The customer also have to be prepared mentally and physically to get any problem related with the restaurants. In this slide, it will show us about our significance of study and limitation of study. As for significance of study, we have been divided into two, which is academic and food service industry. As for academic, the research can become the reference for future researchers, which have a similar study on subcore model and tourist satisfaction in food tourism, especially in our chosen places, which is Penang. Next is food service industry. As for food service industry, can be used as a tool to understand the customer needs and wants. Next is limitation of the study. Firstly, we are lacking of previous research that was focusing on tourism context. Some of the research that we have been found out is more general ones, but not the details. Nextly, we also limited in access. The platform that we use to find out the details are very limited, and it requiring us to change our problem statement and topic repeatedly. Last but not least is our methodology. As we know that our circle have very limited people that going to Penang. Hence, we use convenient sampling to collect from random people that have been to Penang, and we do not, and it does not require us to find people from every age and generation. Next slide shows the definition of key terms. There is several key terms that we have been found and get from some of the research. For instance, is tangible, assurance, reliability, and empathy. As for tangible, it is defined as physical appearance of the employment, materials, and tools that have been used in serving the customer. Next is assurance. Assurance is the consideration and awareness of the employees and their capability to inspire confidence and trust. Reliability is defined as the food stall service or restaurant that can perform correctly at the correct times. Lastly is empathy. Empathy is being thoughtful, pay for the customer's attention, and serve the required service to the customer.
Next is about literature review that we have done for our research proposal. First section is about food tourism. So food is an essential element to form and enhance the visitor experience during traveling and become a significant role in tourism products, destination marketing strategies, and tourist decision making. According to the study, experiencing and other cultures and established tourist experience during traveling is a significant role in food tourism that eventually will attract tourists to visit and stay at the destination. The study has stated that Penang offers tastes and choices from different ethnicity and cultures by mixing Malay, Indian, Chinese, Siamese, and Europe and Arabic cuisine, and has also been acknowledged among the well-known street foods in the world by providing healthy competition to give out the most delicate food. Next is tourist satisfaction. As stated by the study, it has been described that tourist satisfaction is considered as measurable level of consumption related to the completion of product or service feature or even the product of services itself. It is also stated that overall satisfaction is a viewpoint in tourist behavior that includes the expectation, product service, quality, and pricing. It is believed that satisfied tourists will bring more benefits in every aspect. According to the study, A more important benefit gained through tourist satisfaction is that tourists can influence competitiveness and lead to a sustainable and valuable environment. Next is service quality and tourist satisfaction. Service quality has been defined as a gap between service expectation and perception of the service. According to the study, it has discovered that there are 5 dimensions of service quality that are known as tangibles, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. The service quality in food tourism has a significant function in the tourism experience, although food quality is vital in food tourism satisfaction and loyalty. The importance of service quality and physical surrounding has also influenced tourist satisfaction. Next is tangible and tourist satisfaction. The definition of tangibles is the physical elements that can be observed. As stated by the study, it can also be described as the physical look of the materials, utensils, or employees used while assisting the customers. Another study has also mentioned that tangibles have a practical impact on the service quality that can be contributed to the tourist satisfaction on the restaurant. If the tangible quality and value are in bad situation, it will result in dissatisfaction among tourists. Hence, the research has come up with a hypothesis where there is a significant relationship between tangibles and tourist satisfaction of tourists in Penang, Malaysia. Next is for reliability and tourist satisfaction. Reliability in the context of food tourism stated by the study, it is defined as the ability to providing the best services and serving the food within a particular period that is expected by a tourist, while consistently manage to achieve promised services in an absolute manner. Furthermore, according to other studies, reliability crucial elements of tourist satisfaction. If the reliability does not meet the tourist expectation, it will affect the tourist level of displeasure. Therefore, the hypothesis regarding reliability and tourist satisfaction are formulated, which is there is a significant relationship between reliability and tourist satisfaction of tourists in Penang, Malaysia. Next is responsiveness and tourist satisfaction. According to a study, it is defined that willingness and preparedness to assist customers in services is related to responsiveness. Still, this opinion aligns with other studies that claim the willingness of a certain business deal with the customers who made special requests. And according to other study, the satisfaction of tourists in food tourism experience such as food itself, ambience, and even waiting times that are laid under responsiveness characteristic and the importance of knowledge regarding responsiveness had the most significant impact on tourist satisfaction. In recognition of the findings, the following hypotheses have been proposed, which is there is a significant relationship between responsiveness and tourist satisfaction of tourists in Penang, Malaysia. Next is about assurance and tourist satisfaction. Assurance is defined as the ability to convey employees' trust and confidence by exercising courtesy and knowledge, such as being polite and showing respect towards customers. Furthermore, the study stated that it can also be described when tourists feel dependable with the service provided. According to study, it has reported that tourists find assurance as one of the factors that influence the most in their satisfaction, believe that assurance has a statistically meaningful relationship with satisfaction. Therefore, the hypothesis for assurance and tourist satisfaction is formulated as there is a significant relationship between assurance and tourist satisfaction of tourists in Penang, Malaysia. Lastly, is about empathy and tourist satisfaction. The study defined empathy as providing caring attention toward customers that can build up customers' trust, confidence, and loyalty, and also showing that customer needs are essential and can meet customer demands that will eventually increasing in allegiance. As reported by the study, when giving the dedication attitudes toward customers, it will increase tourist satisfaction and consequences of increasing in loyalty because of the major factor that influence tourist satisfaction is empathy and is related to service quality dimensions. Therefore, the hypothesis regarding empathy and tourist satisfaction are formulated, which is there is a significant relationship between empathy and tourist satisfaction of tourists in Penang, Malaysia.
For research design, this study applied quantitative method from a primary data as a research design to examine the tourist satisfactions in terms of service quality of food tourism in Penang, Malaysia. By using quantitative method in this study, it will give advantage in a way of the results that are collected through quantitative data which show the most suitable statistical test to use. To manage the quantitative data in research design, there will be an analytical software that are used in the study to support and analyze quantitative data, such as SPSS, Microsoft Access, and Microsoft Excel. For population sampling, this study will use convenience sampling in order to gather information from respondents who are local and international tourists that have visited top 10 local stalls and restaurants that sell famous Penang food, specifically in Georgetown, Penang. The method used in gaining the data is collected through questionnaire. It is very worthy in terms of time management, and it is also very fast and easy for researchers to gather the information. The least target number that are estimated to answer the overall questionnaire are 100 respondents, and the least number for each stall and restaurant are 10 respondents in Georgetown, Penang. Next is instrument development and testing. The instrument for this research study is questionnaire. In terms of instrument, the questionnaire will be allocated into two sections. For section A, nominal scale will be used to classify respondent demographic profile such as gender, age, marital status, education level, and occupation. Next is section B. Section B will be variety of questions that are related to respondent satisfaction towards the service quality of food tourism in Penang. In this section, respondents will be requested to choose their satisfaction opinion based on Likert scale range that consists 5 ranges, which are strongly disagree, disagree, neither disagree or agree, agree, and strongly agree. Next is data collection procedure. The data that will be used for this study are primary and secondary data. This research study achieved primary data information from respondents through questionnaire, as it will be distributed to local and international tourists who have visited top 10 local stalls and restaurants in Georgetown, Penang. Also, the questionnaire will be allocating through online platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to reach the potential tourists who have visited the top 10 local stalls and restaurants in Georgetown, Penang. The secondary data that will be used in this research study includes articles, journal, web pages, book, internet browser, as well as literature review and research problems that are retrieved from other researchers. The plan for data analysis in section A for this study will be using descriptive analysis to analyze respondent demographic profile, which are gender, age, marital status, education level, and occupation. The demographic profile of the respondent was presented in a frequentness to display the attributes of the respondent. The mean, median, and mode were used to calculate for each variable. Meanwhile, standard deviation was used to specify the divergence of gap among mean and the finding. For section B, the research objective and hypothesis will be analyzed using multiple linear regression since it consists 5 variables. The theoretical model in this study is regarded to be varied model in a way that it is better to use multiple linear regression to analyze this study. For research ethic consideration, the first one will be the approval of consent. The approval of consent from respondents who will be involved in the study will be highlighted. The researcher will clarify the motive of this study and also the fact that respondent information will be collected so the respondent can choose whether they want to get involved or not. The second one will be confidentiality of information. The data will be obtaining for only this research purpose and the data will be safe and cared for from any illegal and prohibited handling. The information from respondent will not be taken somewhere where it should not be that will lead to unsuitable content, and the privacy and comfort of respondent will be preserved. Last but not least, project time frame. The total period time for this project time frame is 16 weeks. Week 1 is research outline and briefing. Week 2 is research discussion and choosing a topic for research title. Week 3 and Week 4 is research discussion and amendment, where we start to gather our information for the most suitable topic for our research title and organize the idea for the topic. Week 5 is question and answer session for research proposal and creating an outline for our research statement. 6 is questionnaire progress, which we create draft as an idea for our questionnaire. Week 7 is writing a proposal draft and final questionnaire design. Week 8 and Week 9 is data collection, where we gather an appropriate article and analyze our research article. Week 10 and Week 11 is clarification of data, where we analyze all the data collection. Week 12 until Week 15 is research proposal writing from Chapter 1 to Chapter 3 and also making an adjustment for research proposal. Week 16 is research proposal presentation.